Jerry, are you ready?
Well, you said show my screen.
Yep, but I think you hit start the broadcast, so now we are live. Um, Hello, everyone. We'll give just a few more minutes because I see people coming in, and we'll start at the top of the hour. Welcome to our 2021 webinar series. LLIS believes that in 2021, knowledge is key. Each month, you'll learn key insurance solutions to better your insurance knowledge. Our insurance specialists keep up with the constant changes in the insurance industry, especially during a pandemic. Our specialists will review some basics, use case studies to show how LLIS crafted risk management strategies, and answer your insurance-related questions. Each webinar will last about 50 minutes, and you must be logged on for the full 50 minutes to receive CFP credit. Please be sure to ask questions as you have them by typing them into the questions box. For a copy of our presentation, you can download the PDF version under Handouts. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website within a week in case you missed it. Today's presenter is constantly monitoring the changes in annuities and hybrid insurance combos to ensure you and your clients are getting the most up-to-date solutions. He joined LLIS in 2008 and has over 20 years of analyzing, studying, and researching annuity solutions. Here to share all his knowledge is Jerry Skapiak.
Thank you, Claudia. I hope everybody's having a good day. I know I am. This is going to be my first webinar/presentation I have done in over a year, so I've been very excited to do this for everybody. Also going to be very excited, I will be presenting at the NAFA conference this fall, and that will be my first live presentation. I am really excited to be doing that one. So today we are going to talk about annuities. There we go. Uh, so we're gonna talk about three different types of annuities. We're gonna look at fixed deferred annuities, indexed annuities, which is another type of fixed deferred annuity, and immediate annuities. And then when we're done with these, we're also going to look at what I kind of go through when I review annuities for advisors. And we're actually going to dive a little bit into the income riders that are on those annuities. So let's start with a fixed deferred annuity. So what is it? Well, a fixed deferred annuity is fairly simple. It's going to guarantee an interest rate for your clients. And it's going to be guaranteed for a fixed number of years. That could be anywhere from 3 years out to 10 years is what's most common. There is going to be a surrender charge for those annuities. It is going to match the interest rate period the client selects. So if you have a 5-year guaranteed interest rate, you're going to have a surrender charge for 5 years. 10-year interest rate, 10-year surrender charge. There are other types of fixed annuities out there that will have just a flat 7-year surrender charge, but you typically get where your interest rate is only guaranteed 1 or 2 years, and then it's going to fluctuate with whatever the insurance company is going to credit. The ones we use your surrender charge is going to match exactly what your rate period is. And then most annuities have some way for you to get money out while there is a surrender charge. Most common is either 10% or 15% they could take out annually. Some are interest only. Some allow the money to come out in the first year of the annuity. Some you have to wait to the start of the second year. Just depends. If that is something that's important to your clients, just let me know up front, and then we'll go with the appropriate annuity for them. So, what is a surrender charge on annuity? Well, they are designed to help the insurance company recoup their costs that they had in putting the annuity in place. And that can be commissions paid or underwriting expenses. Now, some of you are probably wondering, like, well, what underwriting is there with a fixed annuity or any annuity in general? So the underwriting they do with annuities is more financial. They need to make sure that the annuity is appropriate for the client. So they have guidelines that they have to follow to make sure that's what's happening. Also, with surrender charges, normally they are decreasing. There are some annuities where the first couple of years the surrender charge may stay level and then start decreasing, but most of the ones that we work with are going to be decreasing starting from that first year down to the end of the annuity. So on annuities, gains are tax deferred in annuities. That's why they should be used is for clients who are looking to grow money on a tax deferred basis. Um, Typically, clients shouldn't be looking to purchase an annuity unless they're going to benefit from that. So that typically means they're already maxing out their 401k or whatever other types of saving plans they have at work. After they do that, if they can still benefit from tax deferred savings, then an annuity may be an appropriate investment for them. When you take money out of annuity, they are LIFO, so last in, first out, which means any gains are going to be the first thing that comes out when money is taken out of an annuity. The IRS wants to get their taxes that have been deferred all those years. And those gains are going to be taxed as ordinary income. There is no capital gains tax on money in annuities. It is all going to be ordinary income taxes. And if the client is under 59 and a half, there is going to be that pesky 10% penalty the IRS is going to tie onto the withdrawals of the annuity that are counted towards gains in the annuity. So here is where current fixed rates are sitting at. These are rates as of this week. Right now, there has been a lot of interest in a 5-year rate. You're probably wondering, why is 2.8 that exciting? From what I have been told by advisors is that they're using it as an alternative to the bond market. Not exactly sure how that all works, but I can just pass along what advisors are telling me, that they seem to like the 5-year rate and that 2.8% interest rate that they're able to get. So that's it with fixed deferred annuities. They are fairly simple, straightforward, not much to them. You're going to get a guaranteed interest rate for a set period of time. Indexed annuities. Now, these are a little bit more complicated, even though they are considered fixed deferred annuities. So, what is so great about indexed annuities? Well, their performance is tied to a particular index, but the client is not invested in the market. So a common design would be the most common investment option is the S&P 500 index. Inside of an index annuity, all index annuities are going to have a cap, so that's going to be the maximum amount of interest a client's going to earn for a set period of time. And then there's often a floor, and that can be, which is most often 0%. There are some hybrid index annuities out there where clients can actually lose some money, but they can gain a little bit more on the upside of them. Anytime insurance companies start varying from the basics of annuities, it becomes extremely complicated. Clients don't understand what they're getting into, and they come up with great illustrations that, once again, make something look unbelievable just to put in front of a client to sell a product. So here's an index annuity proposal that a client has sent us. It's a little bit old, but it gets a point across. It's back from September 5th of 2019. And what this is illustrating is that the annuity has a 0% floor and has a cap of 6.85%. Typical caps today are not quite that high, but this is what it was back in 2019. This is also illustrating the last 10 years and also the best 10 years uh, of the S&P 500 index. And as we see, we got years 2009 through 2018, and we see a variety of returns. So if we take a look at year 2011, it earned 0% for that year. That's what the index did. And you'll notice when we come over here and we look at the value of the annuity, it stayed the same from 2010 to 2011. The client basically didn't lose any money. Also, if we look at 2015, market lost a little bit of money, or that index lost a little bit of money. And once again, our annuity stayed the same. The quick sales pitch with an index annuity is, would you like to take advantage of all the market upside and not have to deal with any of the downside of the market? That's the very short pitch for an index annuity. And as you see here, when we're looking at year 2015, the client didn't lose any money, and that's what clients really like. But there's a hidden cost with these annuities. In this annuity, over this time period, the annuity would have earned or had account value of $159,000. Had they been invested just straight in the S&P 500 over this time, they would actually have an account value of $277,000 in the annuity. So there was a cost of about $100,000 to be in this index annuity. Yes, the client slept better at night. They knew they weren't going to lose any money. And for some clients, that's great. They're willing to give up that. Now let's take a look at the flip of this. So we looked at the 10 best years. Now let's take a look at the 10 worst years of the annuity. And as you see, the numbers don't look quite as good. We take a look at year 2002. We have a negative 23% return. Our annuities value has stayed the same. The last how many years since it was taken out is still $106,850. You look at the following year, the market goes up 26%, but they were capped at that 6.85%, so the annuity only grew to $114,000. Now, when you look over this 10-year period, it was a fairly rocky time in the market, especially with this index. But being in the annuity, the client still managed to have a value of $138,982. If they were invested in the market and in the S&P 500 index over this time period, they would only have $73,000. So for those very conservative clients who want the chance to earn a little bit more than what they can get, say in CDs or a fixed deferred annuity, an index annuity may be appropriate for them. They also just have to learn, if the market's doing very well, they're going to be giving up a lot there. But for that peace of mind, they can do okay. So with index annuities, you're getting that protection against the downside. This is why clients purchase them, but they need to read the fine print on these. And you see right here, this is right off the footnotes that were part of that illustration. They kind of tell you it's likely that it's not going to perform as illustrated in this illustration. It may be higher or lower than it. And then we got this other note here that the 1-year point-to-point strategy, which is the most common strategy with an index annuity, at the cap guaranteed minimum is 1.1%. So they can reduce that cap all the way down to 1.1% if they need to help balance their own books. So, and here's something else with index annuities. The caps are constantly changing on them. So on 9/5, the cap was 6.85%. We had actually asked the client to go back and get a different illustration from the agent that was doing proposing this annuity. And on 9/7, so just 2 days later, the insurance company had already reduced the cap down 20 basis points to 6.65%. So what will the cap be in 5 years? So when you look at these illustrations on index annuities, they're going to use whatever the cap is at that time, and they're going to project forward how that annuity is going to look. In reality, the insurance company is going to change that cap every single year in that annuity. If they have like an annual point to point, which means every single year they're going to look at the index value at the beginning of the time, at the end of the time, and that's what they're going to credit to the client. Um, they're going to change what that cap is every year. Also, something else with index annuities, you'll notice that the S&P 500 return that you see inside of an index annuity does not actually match what they would get if they were actually invested in the S&P 500 index themselves. The reason for that is in the index annuity, they don't take into account dividends. So from what I've been told, about a third of the returns of the S&P 500 are dividends. They are not going to see any of that inside of an index annuity. All right. So I've received a couple of questions. What would the fees look like on a 5-year fixed annuity at 2.8%? So going back to the first type of annuities, the fixed deferred annuities we were looking at, there are no fees on those annuities. The insurance company is going to cover all their expenses, their profit they want to earn on what they're actually going to earn themselves and what they're going to credit in that fixed annuity. So on that 2.8%, there are no fees associated with it. That is exactly what the client will earn. Then I got another question. Go back, talking about does that 73,000 include reinvested dividends? In that, yes, it does, because we looked at like what the actual S&P 500 did over that time. So that's why we say like if they were actually invested in an S&P 500 fund, that's what they would end up with. All right. Fast forward. All right. So immediate annuities. This is by far the most common type of annuity we assist advisors and their clients with. So what an immediate annuity does is that's going to provide a guaranteed income stream to your clients. It's the simplest of annuities. You're going to give the insurance company X dollars. They're guaranteed to pay your client Y dollars every year for typically as long as they can live. So a common question I get asked is how much guaranteed income should a client have? Well, a lot of that depends on the client, depends on their situation. But what I always say is cover their fixed expenses they're going to have every single month. So make sure the mortgage is covered, they got enough there to pay the electric bill, the water bill, make sure they got enough to cover their groceries, and you can't forget those insurance premiums. So between Social Security, if they're fortunate enough to have any pension, and an immediate annuity, give them enough guaranteed income that's going to cover their fixed expenses. As clients get older, they don't want to take as much risk. Getting that income coming in can give them some peace of mind. So let's look at immediate annuities a little bit more detail. With immediate annuities, you have a few payout options to choose from. You have period certain only payout options, they're non lifetime payout options, and you have lifetime payout options, which will pay for as long as will make payments for as long as the client is alive. So when we're looking at period certain payout options, those are payouts that are going to be for a set period of time. Say, for example, 10 years. The annuity is going to make payments for 10 years, regardless if the client is alive or not. Once it makes that 10th payment, payments will stop. If the client passed away during 10 period certain, the payments will just continue to their beneficiary. The lifetime payouts. That's what's most common when people think of immediate annuities. Um, the most common is going to be a life-only payout. That annuity is going to pay for as long as the client's alive. Once they pass away, payments stop. So even if they take an annuity out, they receive one payment. If they get hit by a loss and pass away, payments stop. Insurance company keeps all the money. Some clients don't really like that idea. The insurance company is going to win in that situation. So insurance companies have different guarantees we can put on an annuity payout. So you have a life and a period certain. The way that works, say the client elects a life and 10-year period certain. They start receiving payments, they pass away after 8 years. Payments will continue to their beneficiary for 2 years, filling the 10-year period certain part, and payments stop. If that client lives 20 years, payments will continue to that client as long as they're alive, but it's guaranteed to make payments for at least 10 years. And you can get a period certain as long as 20, even sometimes 30 years, depending on the company. Life with installment refund and cash refund are my two favorite payout options. They guarantee that the premium put in the annuity is guaranteed to be paid out of the annuity. So let's say the client puts $100,000 into an immediate annuity. Client starts receiving payments. They pay after $80,000 been paid out of the annuity. They put in $100,000. So with the installment refund option, payments will continue to a beneficiary until that other 20,000 has been paid out. The cash refund option will just write a check to the beneficiary for the $20,000. So as I always say, it depends if the client wants a rule from the grave still. If they still do, they select installment refund, or if they don't care what's going to happen, they will do a cash refund. A lot of times there's not much of a difference between the two payout options. And in fact, let's take a look at the payout options where they are today. So here we have Diana. She's 71 years old. She wants to write a check for $200,000 for an immediate annuity. We take a look at life only. It's going to pay her $1,124 a year. That's, I believe, when I calculate, it's like a little over 6.7% payout rate. Not too bad. Obviously, if interest rates were higher, the payouts would be higher. You'll notice that the payouts decrease depending on the length of the guarantee. You look at a life and 20-year certain, the payout's going to be $945 a month, but that payment's also going to be guaranteed for 20 years at a minimum. Installment refund, cash refund, $2 difference between them. Most clients will do a cash refund option. You also notice I put an exclusion ratio on here. So when we talked about immediate annuities, um, or annuities in general, I was saying that any money taken out of an annuity is going to be LIFO, last in, first out. That does not apply to immediate annuities. You have what's actually called an exclusion ratio on them. And what that does is part of each payment they're going to receive is going to be part principal and part interest in that annuity. So for when we're looking at the life only, about 97% of each payment is going to be a return of principal, and 3% is what's going to be taxable to Diana in this example. As interest rates go up, that exclusion ratio goes down, and also, as you can see, as the guaranteed part of the payouts get longer, that exclusion ratio also gets smaller because it's also guaranteeing that it's going to pay more money out of that annuity. The um, life expectancy that's being used when calculating the exclusion ratios is what the IRS says that insurance companies have to use. So we talked about all these different payout options. You can have the same exact payout options with a joint or a survivor. So that joint could be a spouse, it could be a couple living together, it could be same-sex couple, it could be father-daughter. It could be pretty much anybody in there. There's typically not much of a limit when they're looking at joint payouts. You can also have reductions go to the surviving spouse when one of them passes away or one of the surviving annuitants Most of the time, it's still done at 100%, but that is an option. And here are the payouts for joint annuities. Now, the first thing some of you have probably noticed is that the joint life in 10 years is higher than life only. And you'll also notice that joint life at 15, joint life at 20, and pretty much every payout on here is higher than a life only. You're probably wondering why the heck is that like that? Well, the short answer is insurance companies were getting sued by beneficiaries because their parents were buying immediate annuities. They were both dying uh, earlier than anticipated, and the annuity didn't pay out very much. So the beneficiaries were turning around and suing insurance companies. So what insurance companies did is they just simply changed the payouts in immediate annuities for couples. And normally they're not always look quite like this, but it is very common to see at least a joint life and 10-year certain be higher than a joint life only. Insurance companies want the clients to take some type of guaranteed payout on the annuity. All right. I have another question here. So if you're saying that you take money out of an annuity, gains are taxed as LIFO. That is correct. But if you are receiving payments from an annuity, you use the exclusion ratio to determine how much of each payment is tax-free. That is correct, assuming it is non-qualified money. I should have mentioned that. If it's qualified money, then everything will be taxable. So how are the taxable portions of annuity payments taxed? They're taxed as ordinary income. Are they taxed as ordinary income, or do they receive a capital gains treatment? Nope, they are taxed as ordinary income. All right. That takes care of that question. I like to keep up on questions as we go along. Please send in questions. It will make this more exciting for all of us instead of me just talking all day here. So immediate annuities have limits on how much you can put in them. This goes part to that financial underwriting that annuities do. For non-qualified money, the maximum amount a client can put in is going to be 50%. It doesn't matter if the client only has $50,000 to their name or if they have $2 million to their name. The maximum amount an insurance company is going to allow is going to be 50% of non-qualified money. And depending on the situation, we can do 100% of qualified money, assuming they have some other non-qualified money. And the reason for that is an immediate annuity is an irrevocable decision. If a client puts all their money in it, no matter how much sense it may make in the planning process for them to do that, if they run into an emergency, they can't access any money inside the immediate annuity other than the payments they're going to receive. So insurance companies force clients to have an emergency fund. Basically, why they do that. So the exclusion ratio. We kind of talked about this a little bit already. It's an exception to the rule that annuities pay all gains out first. So when you annuitize money, it is spread out, and it spreads out those gains over the insured's lifetime, and it's the IRS life expectancy actually. So if a client lives long enough, they will eventually receive all of their cost basis back, and then 100% of each payment will be taxable to them. Each payment is then part cost basis, which is tax free, and gains, which is taxed as ordinary income. All right. So that's it for the annuities. We're going to change direction here and kind of talk about annuity reviews. So what am I looking at when I'm doing an annuity review? So I kind of go through a 6-step process. I'm going to, if there's surrender charges on the annuity, I'm looking to see if it's qualified or non-qualified. I'm looking at the cost of the annuity, client's age, if it has a death benefit or income rider, and that's actually where we'll probably spend the most time on. And then looking at giving recommendations on the annuity. So the first step is when I get an annuity, I'm looking to see what are the surrender charges on the annuity. If there are surrender charges, yes. Typically, my recommendation is don't do anything with the annuity until the surrender charges are over. The clients typically already paying fees in the annuity, um, or and then they're also gonna have a surrender charge if they get out of it. But if they don't have a surrender charge, we move on to step number two. So is it qualified or non-qualified? So if it is qualified money, I don't understand why agents take qualified money and put it in annuities, but they do it all the time. I shouldn't say I don't understand why. I do understand why. It's a way for them to generate a commission. Um, so if a client has a qualified annuity, um, they can move the value of that annuity to a different qualified plan. So wherever basically you custodial assets, you can roll the value of that annuity over there and manage the money for them. If they are looking for income from money, well, then we can consider it a single premium immediate annuity. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using an immediate annuity for qualified funds. There's a lot of clients, that's where a vast majority of their money is, and if they need guaranteed income, immediate annuity can be an appropriate investment for them. Um, but just because the annuity is qualified, we don't necessarily want to get rid of it every time. We got to take a look and see if there's any of those other benefits that are tied to it. We're going to cover them in just a minute. So even if it's a qualified annuity, if it has any on it, we keep it. Non-qualified annuities, determine what was the overall objective of the annuity. If it was other than the agent wanting to make a commission, so let's say the client is in a top tax bracket and income deferral is optimal for them, it may make sense to keep the annuity simply for that. And the overall investment strategy might make sense in their situation. They may have some funds in there that are actually performing very good for them. But then we also want to determine what the basis is of the. So if the account value and the cost basis are fairly close, small, um, just it's okay to surrender the annuities. I have some advisors from time to time. There may be like a small gain in annuity, say $2,000, and they're looking to roll to a 1035 exchange of that annuity into a new annuity. I don't understand it. It's like say $2,000, $1,000. If they're in a 20% tax bracket, they're going to have a two to $400 tax gain. They're going to have to pay. Just pay the taxes on it. Get them out from underneath the annuity. Get them out from underneath the cost of the annuity, and move on. If the annuity's in a loss position, so they have a large basis compared to what the current count value is, well, then we can look at 1035 exchange to another annuity, low cost annuity. Why would we do that? Well, in a lower cost annuity, we can let the money sit there, grow until it reaches up to that where that cost basis is, and then surrender the annuity. Because remember, you can surrender a non-qualified annuity up to the cost basis. There's going to be no taxes that are due on it. We wait for the value to grow up to the basis and then simply surrender it. You do the 1035 exchange to a low-cost annuity, so that money will grow faster. Now, a lot of the annuities I review, especially with the way the market's been the last how many years, there's going to be a large gain in that annuity. So if their client wants to surrender their annuity, they're going to have a large tax hit, and it's going to be at ordinary income tax rates. So that's when we move on to step number 3. Take a look at the cost of the annuity. So if it's going to be a variable annuity, they're going to have a variety of charges in them, mortality and expense charges. They'll have administration charge, and they're going to have sub-account fee charges. If it's an index annuity, you're not going to have any of those other charges because it is a fixed deferred annuity, but you may have a rider charge on it, like you would if the variable annuity also has a rider. For clients, if they're under 59 and a half and they're going to take money from the annuity, they're going to surrender the annuity, any gains on in that annuity are going to have that 10% penalty. So that's something just to consider, and may want to wait till the client hits 59 and a half before surrendering an annuity or to start taking money out of annuity. So step 5, death benefit and income rider. Excuse me. So if there's a death benefit on the annuity, it can be beneficial to the client and the beneficiaries in the right situation. And where that is one, if the client is unhealthy and or they are older, they may want to keep that annuity simply for the death benefit. Yes, anything over the basis is going to be taxable to the client, but some of the older annuities were sold with enhanced death benefits, so the death benefit's going to be larger than the account value. So if you have an older client or an unhealthy client, it may be beneficial to keep that annuity. So here's like a simple example. Say we got an annuity, was funded with $100,000. The current value is $200,000, and the death benefit is $250,000. So let's say the client's unhealthy, expected not to live very long. So at death, if we hang on to the annuity, the beneficiary is going to get a $250,000. $100,000 of that's going to be tax free, and then $150,000 of it is going to be taxed as ordinary income to them. Whereas if the client surrendered the annuity, they're going to get $100,000 back tax free because that's going to be basis, and they're going to pay income taxes on the gain of that $100,000. And then there's no death benefit to the beneficiary. So in a sense, by surrendering this annuity, they're going to lose $50,000 that could have went to the beneficiary by doing that. So in the short term, when you have an annuity that has a death benefit that's greater than account value, you got to reevaluate it. You got to take a look at that statement every year, because as the values increase in that annuity, that death benefit is probably not going to change much. So that gap between that death benefit and the account value is going to start shrinking. And it may get to a point where the death benefit is really not adding much value anymore. And it may make sense at that time to surrender the annuity. Okay, income rider. This is where we're going to spend a bit of time. This is where I get the vast majority of my questions whenever I am looking at annuities for advisors and clients. I would say probably at least 80 to 90% of annuities I review have an income rider on it. They are extremely popular, they are common. It's very rare to see an annuity sold without one nowadays. So there's three types of income riders that you're going to see. The GLWB, or guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, is by far the most common and what you're going to see the vast majority of the time. Guaranteed minimum income benefit, GMIB, it was sold by MetLife. I don't believe they're really selling annuities anymore under Bright House, but that was the option they really chose to go with. So I see that whenever I see their annuities. And then the guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit, the GMWB, I don't think it's really sold much anymore. It was more popular many years ago. I do see it every now and then, and when I say every now and then, I may see 5 or 6 a year. But there's one out there. We'll talk about it briefly. Um, but what I want to do is I want to go over the basics of income riders. So when you're looking at a statement from a client, you're going to see two numbers on that statement. you're going to see the account value. That is the real money in the annuity. That is the money that they can spend, they can touch, they can do whatever they want with. Then there's this other number on there that's for the benefit base. And different insurance companies will call it something different than benefit base, but it's the value of the income rider. I call that the funny money. It is nothing more than a number on the statement. So let's go through a very simple example here. So a client wants to invest $100,000 into annuity and they are guaranteed 5%. Now, what I like doing when I'm in front of people and I can actually see everybody, I say, how many people here have had a client come to them with an annuity and tell you that they were told they are guaranteed 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever that percent is, and pretty much every hand's going to go up in the audience when I do this. So, what is actually guaranteed in these annuities? So, I want to go through this example here, and we're actually going to use these numbers throughout this whole process talking about these income riders on these annuities. So, the client invests $100,000 in the annuity, and at the end of year one, his account value, his real money, has grown to 103%. But wait a second. He's been told he's guaranteed 5%. Where's the 5%? That 5% is on that benefit base. So at the end of year one, his benefit base is worth 105,000 and his account value is worth 103,000. Okay. Year two comes along, annuity performs great. Account value grows to 120,000. The client's benefit base is guaranteed to grow by 5%. Grows by that 5%, it's worth $110,250. A nice feature with these income riders is they have what's called a step up. And what they do is at the end of every policy anniversary, it may be done quarterly, it may be done monthly. There's even one insurance company that does it daily. But whatever their benchmark that they use is they're going to take a look and see if the account value is greater than the benefit base. So in this case, our account value is 120,000, our benefit base is 110,000. So our benefit base is not actually 110,000, it's going to step up and equal the account value. So at the end of year two, account value is 120,000, benefit base is 120,000. Not bad. Year three comes along, account value doesn't perform too well, it goes down to 80,000, but our benefit base is guaranteed to grow at that 5%, so it's worth $126,000. So we're going to use this number here. Year three, 80,000 account value, benefit base $126,000. The client decides, you know, this annuity's been good, market hasn't done too good, but I see I got this value of $126,000. I want to take my money and I'm going to go do something else. They don't get to take that $126,000. If they want to take money out of that annuity, they would get the 80,000. The only thing the $126,000 is used for is calculating income. Nothing more, nothing less. It's only used for calculating income. All right. So now let's take a look at the two most common riders, first being the GLWB. What that rider does, it allows the owner to take withdrawals up to the guaranteed percentage of the benefit base for life. The key word in this is it's a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit. It is not an annuitization. And we're going to go over and explain how that makes a difference in a minute. And then the GMIB option actually has two options in it. One that allows you to withdraw up to 5% of the benefit base for life, which is not an annuitization, or you can annuitize it. So a simple way to think about it, the difference between a withdrawal benefit and an annuitization. When you have a withdrawal benefit, you're not giving up control. The money still sits there inside that annuity. When you annuitize something, you're handing over the money to the insurance company and they're going to give you that income stream for life. So withdrawal benefit, you don't give up control. Annuitization, you give up control of money. So with the guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, how much the client can withdraw is going to depend on their age when they take that first withdrawal. This is one example. It has, what is that, two, four, six different steps on it. It's very common to only see three steps. It may be from age 50 to 60, the client can withdraw 4.5%, 61 to 70 or 75, it may be 6%, and then anything over age 70 may be 7%. I'm just kind of making up numbers there. But for our example here, we have these different steps, and at age 70, the client can withdraw 5.25%. So when we go back to our example, our end of year 3, we have 80,000 account value. Our benefit base is 126,000. We're able to take 5.25% of 126,000. So the client can withdraw $6,615 for life. But remember, you can't have both. You can't take your 5.25% of that 126,000 and then decide to take additional money out of the account value. And we're going to illustrate that in just a minute. So here we have the annuity. We got our first 3 years here. We're end of third year, account value is 80,000, benefit base is 126,000, and starting in year 4, we take out our $6,615. When you start taking withdrawals, it's going to be reduced from the account value dollar for dollar. Now remember, I keep numbers very simple here. I didn't factor in any growth on anything at this point. I just want everybody to understand how this works. We get down here to year 16. And you notice we still get our $6,615, but our account value is 0. Now, anybody who has an income annuity, their goal should be to start taking withdrawals and live long enough for their account value to reach 0. It is at that point, and that point only, all those fees they've paid for that annuity actually start benefiting them. Because at this point, if you notice on here, year 20, the client's still receiving $6,615. But there's no money left in the annuity. The way they're able to keep getting that income is the insurance company's paying them. That's why they paid all those fees. If you have a client and their goal is to leave money to their kids and they plan on doing it through the annuity, then they are in the wrong annuity. They don't want to be in an annuity that has an income rider. They want to take withdrawals, hopefully live long enough to have that annuity go to 0. Also, another thing, clients have a tendency, because if you remember, we had that step up, as the longer they wait, the greater those withdrawals get. Clients like to think, well, if I wait a couple more years, I'm going to get more income. And that's true. They will get more income. But just because they wait a couple of years to start taking income doesn't mean they're going to live a couple more years beyond when God has chosen for them to die. They should, when the client has an income rider, they should start taking income as soon as possible with it, because their ultimate goal with it is to deplete all the value out of that annuity and then have the insurance company on the hook to keep giving them income. All right. So let's move on. So one of the things I said with the GLWB is that it is a withdrawal benefit. So your account value is still there, so you have access to it. And I say you have access with caution. So we're going to use an example here. So at the end of year 3, we have 80,000 account value, benefit base is 126,000. Let's say the client wants to withdraw $40,000 out of the annuity. When you take excess money out of an annuity that has a rider on it, it's going to be proportional. So whatever percent you take out of the account value, it's going to reduce the death benefit or the benefit base proportionally. In this case, we're taking 50%. So what happens is our account value goes to 40,000, our benefit base goes to 63,000. So we go back to our chart we have here. Uh, Year 4, instead of taking out the 6,615, we take out the 40,000. You see all our numbers changed, but then going forward, now we're going to get only $3,308. And the annuity continues like it did, but now we got to go out 20 years for that account value to reach zero. And ultimately, that's what our goal is. We want to see, and we hope the client is still alive to continue to receive income. All right. So the other common rider, the guaranteed minimum income benefit base, there's two options with it. You have withdrawals up to the 5% of benefit base for life, works just like the GLWB, or you can annuitize it, give up control, no access to account value. So we go back to our example, 80,126. They get 5% of the 126,000. They get $6,300 for life. Simple, straightforward. If they go with option 2, not necessarily always the best. One, you have to wait 10 years before you can enact that part of the rider, this option 2. Also, if you elect a step up, so the step up's not automatic with this rider, you have to elect it, because if you elect it, you start a new 10-year waiting period with the rider. Also, when you use it, you have an age setback. So what that means is that, let's say the client's 70 and they're going to start taking income, and they want to use option 2, they want to annuitize it. What the insurance company is going to do is they're going to go, no, we're not going to make you 70. We're going to make you, let's say, 65. With immediate annuities, the younger you are, the lower your payout's going to be, and vice versa. The older you are, the higher your payout's going to be. So if you have a 65 and a 70-year-old both putting $100,000 into an immediate annuity, the 70-year-old is going to receive a higher payout because they got a shorter period of time to live, theoretically. So what the insurance companies do is, to help hedge themselves a little bit, they do an age setback. Also, option 2 is typically not shown on a statement, and the client will have to call an insurance company to see how much income they would receive under option 2. So under option 2, this particular case, the client had 126,000. Their annual income would be 7,056. So higher than the guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit under option 2, or under option 1, but they do have an age setback. We're normally, I don't see this often. This rider 1, 2, do I see, especially like I said, where market is, where our account value and benefit base are such a difference in the numbers. Um, we're the where it can be a little bit different if the account value and benefit base are very similar, and the client wants to go to annuitization route. A lot of times they can do better going outside of the annuity they're in and purchasing an immediate annuity. All right, so I've got a couple of questions here. Is this being recorded and will be available to attendees? Yes, it will be. If someone takes partial withdrawals after a step up, do they get the higher percentage, or once the withdrawal rate is set, it's set for life? All right. So, so withdrawal rates are. So, if someone takes a partial withdrawal after a step up, do they get the higher percentage? Yes. Well, no. So, if so, we're going back when a client starts with an annuity with an income rider. Once a client starts taking income, they're more than likely never going to see a step up again. They might get lucky in earlier years, but more than likely they're not going to see a step up again. If a step up ever does happen, um, and the client has crossed over to a point where they went into the next band where the percent they could withdraw is higher, yes, they would get the higher percentage. But the odds of that happening, excuse me, are very low. And when you think about it, you have you're taking, in our example, 5.25% out of the annuity, plus you're going to have the fees of the annuity, and we'll say it's another 2%. So you got 7.5% coming out of the annuity every year between withdrawals and fees. The odds of there being a step up are slim to none that are really going to happen in the annuity. All right, that takes care of the questions, I believe. Check. Yep. All right. So the guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit. This is the one I said it's out there. It's not really being sold today, but it is around. I'm just going to make you aware of it. It guarantees clients will get back the greater of their principal or the benefit base. They can withdraw up to 7% per year. There's no lifetime guaranteed income and no guaranteed 5% growth. So when we go back to our example, we put the 100,000 in, end of year 3 account value is 103, benefit base is 103. Year 2 account value is 120, benefit base is 120. Year 3 account value goes to 80,000, benefit base is 120,000. So we're looking at this. The client can withdraw 7% of that $120,000. So what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to withdraw that until they've withdrawn. So they get to withdraw $8,400. They get to withdraw that until they will have withdrawn 120,000 out of the annuity, which will be 14.2 years. It's an older version of an income rider. Like I said, not really used much anymore. Here it is, just illustrated a little bit. You'll notice down here in our example, year 20, they get not quite 8,400, they get 2,400, brings them up to the 120,000, and the annuity stops. Payment stops because there's no lifetime income on it. So recommendations for annuities. So for qualified money, if there's no income rider on it, roll the annuity over to an IRA when surrender charges are over that you can manage for them. No reason to keep it. If there's an income rider, if the annuity is going to be used for income, they may want to keep it. You just got to evaluate the rider, see how much income they're going to get from it. It may be worth keeping. If annuity will not be used for income, then once again, roll it over to an IRA. Non-qualified money. Little gain in the annuity. If there's no surrender charges, just surrender the annuity, get rid of it, get the client out from underneath annuities. If there's little gain with an income rider, it may be beneficial to keep it. Depends on what the value of that income rider is, how much income they're going to give. But once again, if they have no intentions of using that money for income, then get rid of it. Non-qualified annuity, large gain. Well, this is where they can annuitize or transfer to an immediate annuity. They have that exclusion ratio. If they're going to do an immediate annuity, they can do a tax-free 1035 exchange into a no-load annuity. Because remember that we got a large gain in an annuity, we can get them into a lower cost annuity. If they're tired of the ups and downs of the market, they can look at a fixed deferred annuity, especially if they plan on just passing this money on to their beneficiaries. Also, we can also look at a hybrid annuity for them. We get them some long-term care benefits if they're not going to use this annuity for income. But if it does have an income rider, they may want to keep it for the income. Just because a client comes to you with an annuity, don't automatically think to get rid of it. It may be beneficial for them to keep it. Yes, I know most of you would never recommend an annuity to a client. I wouldn't myself typically, but if they come to you with it, it may be the best thing to do to keep it. So we went over the I go through my annuities. So 10 things that make LLIS different. We do these monthly webinars. Next month is going to be why do life insurance rate class matter so much? Uh, that's going to be a good one. We are not your competition. We only work with fee-only financial advisors. We do not manage money at all here. Our goal here, as and I'm on the advisor service team, is to find the best solutions for your clients. We are proud sponsors of all these different planning organizations. Um, we have specialists in the various products. We have life specialists, disability, long-term care, annuities, and hybrids. And once your clients purchase a policy, we are not done with them. We manage everything. We do all of policy holder services for your clients. We help make sure that they remember to pay their premiums, and also keep track of if they have term policies when those conversion options are going to be up. And if you haven't had a chance, we have our own portal. We call it Alice, and that gives you 24/7 access to all your clients' documents. You can always look and see what's going on with your clients' cases, where they are in underwriting, and can get a lot of information about your clients' policies right there in there. And then finally, let me see if I got any other questions here. Can you do a partial Roth conversion from an annuity? You can, as long as the annuity allows a partial 1035 exchange. A lot of companies do that, but not all companies allow partial 1035 exchanges. What options do you have with a large annuity that has grown over many years with significant gains? I kind of talked about that already. You can, if they're going to use it for income, the best way to spread out the gains is to actually annuitize it. If they're going to pass it on, then look at a low-cost annuity to help reduce the cost of the annuity. And another benefit you get when you do a 1035 exchange from an old annuity with gains is you're locking in what that minimum death benefit is on the annuity. So let's say, we'll use an extreme example. Let's say a client had put $100,000 in an annuity and it's worth $1 million. The guaranteed minimum death benefit on the annuity is $100,000. So if that annuity is $1 million, and let's say they pass away, it goes down to $800,000. That's great. The beneficiary is still going to get $800,000. But if they had done a 1035 exchange to a new annuity, that minimum death benefit now becomes $1 million. So the beneficiary in that case would have got $1 million as opposed to $800,000. Next year, the IRS is changing the life expectancy tables used when determining the required minimum distributions from retirement accounts. Do you know if those numbers used in those exclusion ratio tables will be updated? They absolutely would be updated if the IRS is requiring that for annuities. Can you use Roth only to buy annuities? Tax impact. You can use Roth money to buy annuities. There's really no reason to do that because both annuities are growing tax deferred just like a Roth. So I wouldn't really recommend that. The only time I would do it is if that's all the money they have and they want guaranteed income. You can look at doing an immediate annuity. Obviously, all the income from that immediate annuity would be tax-free. Will you send out the recording of this seminar? The recording will be on our website that you can view it. I don't have any more questions. I believe my time is up. Thank you, everybody. This has been great doing this. And if you got any other questions, my email address is up there. You can just email me or give me a call at the office. Thank you, everybody.